Now, I don't know if you know this right now. As you know, often when we do our Zoom meetings, Dr. Kaplan and I are in different places, but I'm actually much closer to Dr. Daniel Buddha right now. I'm actually much closer to Dr. Daniel Buddha right now than I am Dr. ESK, because guess where I am? Yeah, baby. I'm in a place called Las Vegas.
No, you're not.
Yeah, that's true. I know it's hard to believe. I know you can't believe it that I'm in Las Vegas. I'm actually in Las Vegas right now. And you might ask, why am I in Las Vegas? The reason why is because in approximately 30 days, we're going to make history again. And we are coming back to give the Las Vegas Cairo event on Saturday, March 22nd. It is almost sold out. I think it actually was sold out and they might have added a few more seats, but we're actually out here scouting here and making sure that the accommodations are great, the food is great, the environment is great, and that's what we do for our team here. Yeah, the things that go on behind the scenes, if you only knew what goes on behind the scenes here, and we're just about ready to go. So you ready? Let's count it down. Are you ready? Let's count it down. Ready? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to the first and only ever Zoom preview class for the inaugural, the first and only of its kind, National Neuropathy Decompression Certificate class. Write it down. It is only approximately 10 days away, and there are a handful of seats left. Write it down, www.neuropathycertified.org. I cannot tell you how excited that Dr. Kaplan, myself, and a host of all-star instructors are to be able to provide this content, this information, this basically right place at the right time, if you know what I mean, in terms of the ability to teach an 8-hour, one-day CEU program that's never been done before, that will be comprehensive in the world of the diagnosis, the treatment, the protocols, and the ability to build a phenomenal peripheral neuropathy practice in conjunction with, believe it or not, in conjunction with a decompression practice. That's right, 8 hours, 3/4 of the class will be dedicated to the teaching of peripheral neuropathy. And then the balance of that will be dedicated to, as you know, what we're known for, of course, which is the education of non-surgical spinal decompression on the grand scale. Now, when I say the grand scale, as you know, Dr. Kaplan and myself and a very special group of doctors put together the original National Spinal Decompression Certification. It started in 2012, and it sells out every year. So this is the first ever peripheral neuropathy combination decompression certificate program that's ever been done before. And mark the calendar down, February 22nd, live on campus, the great Life University, the alma mater for so many. Yes, yes, and yes. And so what I'm going to do is this. What we're going to do is, as the room continues to fill, how's that? Yeah, baby, let's go. So I'm going to put a pin on my guy, the creator, the originator, the inventor, the brain trust. Oh, I'm just getting started of why we are here. Yes, it was his idea to put together an official certificate program, 8-hour credentialed program on the campus of Life University. We got so much to show, share, give. And if you are in the business of making your business the go-to disc center and the go-to nerve center, then guess what? You're in the right place at the right time. We're going to go kind of fast today. We got some great slides to show you, and then we're going to kick it off with the person who invented this. Yeah, he invented it. He really did. Just like, chiropractic, right? The Palmers, right? You could say they invented chiropractic. Well, guess what? Dr. Eric Kaplan invented the national certification programs in the realm of non-surgical spinal decompression, and now the brand new peripheral neuropathy. Dr. Kaplan, are you with us?
I'm here, baby. I'm here, and body, mind, and spirit. And so I'm going to start something different. Never done this before, but I like to do this because when I talk about neuropathy today, I'm going to start off with neuropsychology, because I think neuropsychology has a lot to do with neuropathy. So here we are. It's Tuesday evening, and I'm looking at all the wonderful people in the audience, and I'm saying, you know what? I admire you. See, my neuropsychology is, one day, people always would ask Perry and I one big question: what does it take to be successful? How can I be successful like you? How can I be successful like your son, Jason, and Stephanie? What is it so special? And I'm telling you, it comes down to neuropsychology. Because one day I woke up, and Perry and I have had this talk many times, and I realized nothing is better than being a doctor. Now, imagine being a doctor. I wouldn't, everything that I have, everything that I've made, everything that I've do, all my successes are due to being a doctor. But the secret, doctors, is not just accepting your fate, but embracing it. See, I will tell you, you want to talk about neuropathy? I'm here. You want to talk about, the studies? I'm here. You want to talk about neuropad? I'm here. You want to talk about, studies from Rodriguez, from Mayo Clinic, from Yale University? I'm here. You want to talk about the Rodriguez studies? What about the Baker study? What about the Bader study? What about the Lowe study? What about the Horowitz study? What about the Cochran study, the Powell study, the Murphy study? All of these studies, doctors, have to deal with what we did when we did decompression. Because, see, my neuropsychology is, how do I be embracing what I do, which is what I love. I love the fact that we have the ability to help people. I'm talking to a doctor today who has an all-Amish practice out of Wisconsin. And he says, oh, my God, what a profession that we're in. He says, because now, he says, I'm not just a bone mover. He says, I don't just deal with one visits. He says, what I'm doing now is with the Amish, because they don't like drugs. He says, now I'm adding neuropathy and other things and knees and we're going to talk about this in it. I mean, I'm going to show you today the Cleveland study clinics on neuropathy and what you need to know, and the Murphy studies on balance. But it begins with, as I said, neuropsychology, doctors, is embracing what you do, loving what you do, and getting on your knees every day and saying, thank God I'm a doctor. And let me tell you, I'll say thanks right now to Kevin Fogarty, the chairman of the board of Life University, who's embraced our program. And that's why, as our gift, because all the monies go to Life University, so everybody knows that Perry and I donate our time for this. This is not a DCOA money-making proposition. But you see, Dr. Winston Churchill said, you make a living by what you get, you make a life by what you give. And Kevin Fogarty is one of the most generous people I do, because he gives so much to the university. And this is his love and his passion. And it shows in everything that he does. And that's why in the winter, I am leaving sunny Florida, and it'll probably be the cold, rainy Atlanta, Georgia. But because, doctors, we love what we do, and we want to be the best at what we do, and we want to serve. So I'm going to ask you, the first question I'm going to ask you is, what percentage of your practice is neuropathy? And do you know the neuropathy decompression connection? And I'm going to tell you, doctors, if you get excited from this meeting today and you're not booked for Georgia, you better get your behinds. I can say behind, right, Perry? You better get your behind, okay, to there. Because, see, it comes down to, what is neuropathy? According to the dictionary, neuropathy is a disease dysfunction of one or more peripheral nerves, typically causing numbness or weakness. Hold on. Couldn't I put in and say that's a subluxation? Couldn't I say a subluxation is a disease of dysfunction of one or more peripheral nerves? Isn't that what B.J. Palmer and D.D. Palmer and Ian Grasham and Reggie Gold and Sid Williams and all these greats embraces upon? Yes, doctors. There's 5 components to a subluxation: kinesiopathology, myopathology, neuropathology, pathophysiology. If you don't know this, doctors, but neuropathology, doctors, is one of the components And then when you look at the report, okay, the scientific reports from Dr. Park and Dr. Min, okay, or the Cleveland Clinic, and they show that there's not only association with type 2 diabetes, but with lumbar degenerative sign disorders. Scientific reports, doctors. This is not fluff. Do you know, doctors, that now, okay, that the U.S. consumes 75% of all the medications produced in the world. So listen, I'm not into politics, but you know what? I'm of a belief that of all the people that have been for health and human services, I don't think anybody embraces our profession more than a Robert F. Kennedy does, who understands about vaccines, about how many children with the vaccines that they were to they weren't, that drugs are not the thing. And when you leave my thing tonight, doctors, and you watch television, watch how many drug commercials, and then you hear the side effects. Let me give you the side effects of chiropractic. This is the commercial. Oh, go to a chiropractor, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and the side effects are, you will feel better. You will live longer. You will have a better life. You will enjoy every day that you get adjusted. Matter of fact, you're going to enjoy life again. Matter of fact, how would you like to feel pain-free? Oh, and those are your side effects. Are you kidding me? We are in the greatest profession in the world. And my neuropsychology is today, doctors, you got to love it. I mean, the Feinberg study, which is a phenomenal study, shows that according to him, sciatic nerve injury and dysfunction is not an uncommon cause of lower extremity symptoms in a musculoskeletal practice, which, okay, he calls it post-operative sciatic neuropathy. Hold on. So that means that now that we know about from decompression, failed back surgery syndrome, now we know that we have post-operative neuropathy. Why are we not treating that, doctors? That 75% of all the drugs that consume are off. And then, if you go to Johns Hopkins, doctors, I'm giving you the greatest institutions in the world. What are the symptoms? Muscle weakness? Hey, I treat that. Myopathology. Cramps? Myopathology. Muscle twitching? Myopathology. Loss of muscle and bone? Myopathology. Changes of skin, hair, and nails? Son of a gun. Are you kidding? Numbness and tingling? Oh, you mean numbness and tingling could be a symptom of neuropathy? How many of you that are doing decompression are also doing neuropathy? And one of the ways to do that, doctors, is doing balance. I want everybody here tonight to write down the word nerve. One word. I always give words. I'm very big on acronyms. Everybody knows this. And those that are going to be there in February, I'm going to give them this again. Nerve. What is nerve? N stands for neuropathy. Neuropathy deals with neuropathology. The E stands for energy, because we know that if the nerves are not transmitting, then the body's not getting the ADP, and then the cells are going to be out of balance, because we know that neuropathy is also cellular dysfunction. And that's what we want to do, that there's only two causes of disease. Either the body is deficient or toxic. And what we do is we deal with deficiencies. The R in nerve stands for regeneration, because we know from the Steinberg study and from the Mayo Clinic study that nerves have the ability to regenerate. Take the pressure off a nerve, doctor. And when we first started to do this, the battles. California says chiropractors can't do neuropathy. I said, hold on. You won't give me CEUs for neuropathy in California? No, chiropractors cannot treat neuropathy. But hold on. What is neuropathy? They didn't even know the definition. I had to write letters and requests to let them know that neuropathy is a part of everything that we do in our science. And the E stands for equipment. You need to have electroanalysis. You need to know about LED lights. You need to know about laser. You need to know about vitamin and the B vitamins. And we have a speaker you'll get a little taste of him tonight. Oh my God. One of the brightest guys that I've met in the world of neuropathy. And he deals with this is the guy by the name of Dr. Tim Cameraman. And when Timmy talks tonight, hey, take out your pen and pencils, because he will talk to you about the ability of the nerve, how neuropathy, energy, regeneration. Okay. The V in neuropathy stands for vasoconstriction. If the nerves are impinged, then we're going to get vasoconstriction. So that's where nitric oxide becomes so important. And Tim will talk about this tonight. Do you know that according to the Mayo Clinic, that 7 out of 10 Americans take a prescription drug? Mayo Clinic. The average 45-year-old takes 4 different prescriptions. So I want to question doctors, when patients coming into your office doing an intake, do you ask them what drugs they're taking? Do you ask them, Perry taught me this, do you ask him about Lyrica? He's going to laugh at me in a second. Zymbalta, Narotinib, and he mentions all of them, gabapentin. And do you know what? These are not approved, doctors, for neuropathy. No different than oh God, are you kidding me? They're not approved for neuropathy. No different than there are so many injections that people do, like epidurals, are not approved for back pain. Yet they do it. So hold on. I just had a patient. Oh, the doctor recommends an epidural. I said, hold on. Do you know that epidurals are not approved for back pain? No, I didn't know that. And that's why by utilizing light therapy, neuropathy, we've always understand that the body has the ability to create new vessels. That nitric oxide is produced by every cell, and it's the most important thing. And that goes back to the study from the State University of New York. I mean, ATP stores energy in cells, and the mitochondria absorb light, which stimulates the energy. Vitamin deficiencies of B1, B6, B12, vitamin D. Oh my God, that 1 out of 5 people, Perry, 1 out of 5 Americans suffers from neuropathy. So guess what, doctors? When you go to your office tomorrow, 1 out of 5 of your patients has neuropathy. Are you putting them on a neuropathy treatment program, or are you letting them live their life on drugs and surgery? There's so much that we have for you. If you think that I'm just getting started, I'm just getting started, baby. Because you know what? My neuropsychologist, I love being a doctor. I love what I do. I love helping people, but I love helping doctors. And I want to thank again, Kevin Fogarty, Life University, for giving us the opportunity to go on campus. Why? Because that's where it begins, doctors. My partner, my best friend in the world, he graduated at Life University. My son did his undergraduate work at Life University. One of my best friends, Ian Grosson, was a part of the beginning. So, Perry, take it over.
This is a big deal. You, all of you here, right now, are a big deal. And one of the things that I love, not like, love what Dr. Kaplan says is he'll say this. Tell me if you heard this before. That the magic, the power, the uniqueness, and the specialty of chiropractic is that it is an art. It is a philosophy. And yes, it is a science. And today, we're going to talk about science. Now, if you were paying close attention, as I know you were, he just rattled off about 15 neuropathy studies. And if you're fortunate enough, if you're blessed enough to be able to join us live on February 22nd, this is a one-time only training, and you will learn about the synergy between spinal disc and spinal nerve. You will learn what happens when a patient comes to your office and they have pain in their back, but they also have numbness, tingling, pins and needles, gait dysfunctions, balance disorders, and more. Is that a spinal structural dysfunction, or is that a metabolic issue? Is it potentially a neurodegenerative condition? What really is it? Do you know how to diagnose it? Do you know how to protocol it? Do you know how to systematize it? Do you know how to package it? And yes, do you know how to market it? I want to show you some very cool things, and then we're going to introduce our first special guest speaker, understanding that this is a preview. Yes, we are coming to you live from beautiful, sunny, tropical South Florida and Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, that's what's going on right here, Dr. Buddha. And yes, we will see you there. And more and more. We have so much fun because we attract a certain type of doctor, a doctor who has the big idea. Somebody once said, get the big idea, and guess what? All else follows. Yep, that's what they said. So I want to show you a couple of things, and then we're going to dive right into it. So one of the things you need to get excited about is that there's a brand new manual, and this manual will blow your mind. Now, if you're curious, you can say, wait a minute, hold on a second. Can I get this manual if I don't come? The answer, unfortunately, one word, 2 letters, The first letter begins with the letter N, and you could figure out the other letter. You got to be there. See, someone famous once said that proximity is power. Who said that? Oh, Tony Robbins. Yeah. Proximity is power. You want to be the best nerve doctor, disc doctor. You want to be the doctor that you envisioned. Then you got to get there and get your hands on this manual. It's close to 200 pages, and it is the best and it's all new stuff. It's the best combination of neuropathy, and I'll show you some of the stuff in the manual. So it's pretty cool in that regard. Brand new manual. So excited who contributed to it. As you know, Dr. Kaplan and myself are your hosts for that most special day. The website is neuropathycertified.org. Now, let me be very clear here. Once it closes, it closes. Now, they give us a certain size room, and then once we fill up that room, that's the room. That's it. So don't get closed out. You're only 10 days away here from a game-changing day. Write it down. Go to the website after this and try to snag your seat. You can bring your team. Yeah, you can get them certified too. In other words, they can get the same certificate as you. You know how powerful that is? To get your team a certificate in neuropathy from the biggest chiropractic university on the planet. One of the great speakers here who contributed an amazing presentation to the manual. It's completely in the manual. I read all his slides. It will blow your mind. The great Dr. Tim Kammerman. Now, if you're curious about who Dr. Kammerman is, he happens to be on here live with us tonight. He's going to share with you some of the highlights of what he's going to cover live and in person. And he's one of our featured speakers. Now, the reason you might say, well, hold on a second. Why is he one of your featured speakers? I'll tell you why. He owns one of the biggest neuropathy practices in the country. But more than that, he really internalized this. And he took this to a level that very few doctors, very few chiropractors could have ever even dreamed of. He made this a destination practice, meaning patients who are suffering from neuropathy from other states, other parts of the country will travel to Dr. Kammerman. Where's he located? A place called Searcy, Arkansas. Yes, he created a book. It's an actual guide, and a number of the contents of the guide are actually in the manual. He was so incredibly generous to provide this here. And what I would love, with your approval, is I would love to ask you, Dr. Kammerman, first of all, you're getting younger. Is it I don't know what, is it the nitric oxide? I don't know what it is. Is it the you look like $1 million. I can't wait to see you. We all can't wait to see you, to take the stage live at Life University. You've made this yours. You've done it on the grand scale. You've done it better than just about anybody out there. Dr. Kammerman, on Saturday, February 22nd, 2025, in this historic day, give me 3 bullet points. What are 3 of the highlights? You didn't know what we're asking you. I just said, if there's any way you could join us, I know you're super busy, but if there's any way you could join us on this one-time only preview, if you would be so kind to share with our audience here 3 of the highlights of what they can expect to learn on this historic class.
Well, I'd start by saying that, number one, you get to be on the Super Bowl team. You get to be with the All-Stars. And my mom used to say this, my wife says this, you don't like losing. I don't like losing. I like being the best that I can be. And I like winning for my patients. And so if you want to win for your patients, you need to be there, because you're going to learn some things that are going to blow you away. I won't share everything here. I'll share a few things that I'm going to share when we get to Atlanta. But I've got some things that are very exciting. I call this it's a rabbit hole. Once you start going and you're looking at neuropathy, it is amazing how far you can go. I had a retired cardiologist that came to me. He'd been to Mayo Clinic, and all the different tests that they did, and blood tests and things of that nature. But when it gets down to it, the second thing is, we're going to simplify for you. We're going to take you down the rabbit hole just a little bit tonight, but we're going to really simplify how to get people well. And uh, the third thing is, and I liked what Dr. Kaplan said about the neuropsychology, because you're going to give people hope. Do you know, every week people come into my office and they say, well, I really know that you can't help or cure neuropathy. And I'm like, well, what are you here for? You know, they're not really believing that. They're saying it because that's what they're told. And that's not the truth. Now, and hey, by the way, I appreciate you, even if you lied a little bit that I'm looking younger. I don't mind that, you know. So anyway, thank you for that. How long do I have to talk tonight?
As long as you want. Your goal.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you want.
All right. So
Time's up. Only kidding.
all right. So yeah, there's going to be once you get there, I'm going to share with you a lot of resources that, you know, you don't have to take my word for everything. You can start looking at some really good resources. And when you look at this particular book, you're going to see that there's about 100 different causes of neuropathy. And the good thing is this, it really doesn't matter for the majority of those causes. There are some things that will never be able to help. But when you're talking about the homeostasis of the body, I am so excited about what we can do. Because when I've got someone that's been to Mayo Clinic and they're not helping them and they come here and we see improvements, man, I get psyched up about that. Now, we will be talking a little bit or a lot about nutrition, and I want to sidetrack a little bit and tell you a couple things that we do. We don't do this with most neuropathy cases, but I want to let you know that there are some things you can do if you have patients that have some food sensitivities, because we're going to help people to start healing by using the different therapies that we have, but sometimes they are accentuating the problems by the foods that they eat. And so you can do a couple of things. This one's called ALCAT. So ALCAT is something that you can do. It's a blood test. We draw blood in the office when it's appropriate. And so you can get that and you can find out different foods that a person is sensitive to. So that's a good resource. Do we do it very often? Not real often. This is another thing that we do. And I get these free from a company called Standard Process. We use probably, I don't know, 15, 20 different nutritional companies. And you don't have to do that. But by the nature of the practice that I have, we have a lot of companies. But I get these papers and you can have patients start recording what they're eating. And so, you know, when they're eating like, you know, bags of M&Ms or whatever else, you know, it's not going to enhance their ability to heal. So you can get that, or just have them start writing down some of the things that they are eating, and you'll be surprised at how it's causing some problems. Now, I want to share with you one patient. I've got dozens and dozens of cases that I could show, but this is Jim. He's a patient of mine. We had Jim before I did a video, but we're just doing an update. We've been doing this for probably about 3 months. This is his third Toronto re-exam. He started off as a 9 and an 8, and today he's at 41 and 39. So it's a substantial change in a short amount of time. What do you feel, Jim?
100% improvement, even over the last time. Every time we test, it seems like it's 100% better. And I don't know, I can actually feel the end of my toes. I have full sensation in my feet again. The program works. Work the program and it works.
Here we go. Nice. Hey, Dr. Cameron back with you. We had Jim before. All right, and that's so common. And I will tell you this, and this ought to get you psyched up right here, what I'm about to say. I tell my patients when they come in and we're talking about neuropathy, I tell them that 80% of the people that follow my recommendations in a month will see improvement. I don't tell them that they're going to be well, because if they're severe, they're not going to be well in a month. Okay. 80%. And you know what? I'm being conservative because I'm giving myself 20% margin if a person says, I'm not coming along as fast or whatever, but 80%. Now, wouldn't that be exciting if you're just starting to add neuropathy into your practice, that you could tell someone that 80% of the people that follow the program will start to see improvements in a month's time. They're not finding it anywhere else. So, and I'm gonna show you some cases here in a minute as far as looking at their feet, and it'll blow you away at what we're looking at. I want to go over something that a few years ago really changed my thinking on neuropathy and other things. Okay, so this is Manfred von Ardeen. He was doing research back in the 1980s in Germany. And this guy was taking people that were basically on their deathbed and bringing them. Now, if you try to find this online, it's like $3,000. You know how they hijack books and they take something that's valued and then they jack it up. So, but you can probably find the PDF of this. It's called Oxygen Multi-Step Therapy, and I want to read something out of that. This is what blew me away. When I read this, it was like a light bulb switched on. And so it says the basic effect of oxygen multi-step therapy, the long-lasting increase in the arterial venous oxygen saturation difference in the blood can, as suggested by numerous signs discussed below, be traced back to a cellular vessel wall switching mechanism. Now, until I read this book, I had never heard of the vascular switching mechanism, which can be triggered by oxygen multi-step procedures and which chiefly starts from the endothelial cells of the capillaries. This switching or regulating mechanism is controlled bioenergetically by the energetic status, hyperoxia or hypoxia of the endothelial cells. And I'm going to skip down, and I want you to hear what blew me away in this next paragraph. This mechanism is generally, but not always, reversible. So he's saying it's reversible most of the time. Occasionally it's not. We get that. The blood microcirculation can be strengthened by the switching effect or weakened, but he says it occurs in all the, when he does this procedure, it occurs in all the capillaries of the organism simultaneously and concurrently. Now, think about the weight of what he just said there. When he's doing this particular therapy, it's occurring simultaneously and concurrently. That is huge, because now you're not only taking an individual that has loss of function in their feet, you're changing their life. I mean, you're giving their life back. And so we have the power to do that with chiropractic, what we're doing with decompression. I want to take a sidestep for just a minute and tell you, I had a lady this week. She was in our decompression program, and she said, I want to thank you. I'm getting chills right now. She said, I want to thank you for helping me, because, I mean, she came in here on a cane and trying to work, things of that nature. Said, I want to thank you. I said, you know what? 6 years ago, I joined a group and I learned so much about decompression. And even though I have a good neuropathy practice, I learned things and equipment, that we could use, the matrix, to enhance healing. And so, you know how good that makes me feel? Like I said, I like to win. I just won with that lady. I helped her get her life back, and how good that feels. That's like saying sick them to a dog, and so that is so powerful to be able to do that. Now, here's something that's very interesting that goes back to what Dr. Kaplan just said, because there is such a correlation between the nerve and blood vessels as well. So when you're dealing with neuropathy, you're not only dealing with the nerves, you're dealing with the blood vessels. And when you have a bulging disc, a herniated disc, and you're creating some pressure on the nerve roots, then you're also going to have impact on the vascular. And so if you start looking at the role of endothelial dysfunction that we talked about here with von Ardeen's research, then you also start to learn there's something called peripheral blood-nerve barrier. Now, we've heard about the blood-brain barrier and how that can be affected by different chemicals and such. But once you start understanding that there is a blood-nerve barrier, and when that starts to get broken down by whether it's drugs or chemicals or chemotherapy or on and on you go, or a bulging disc that's interfering with nerve supply, now you get this cascade of nerve dysfunction, vascular dysfunction. And the cool thing is, not only with some of the things we do with nutrition that can start turning that around, when you come to the class in Atlanta, we're going to start talking about some of the therapies that you doctors already have in your clinic, or I would imagine if you're a DCOA doctor, you have some of these different therapies, and you're going to be able to start changing the vascular integrity of those patients. And so when you look at you've got the artery, and then you have the capillaries and the veins. And when we start looking at what's going on with those endothelial cells in the capillaries, we're going to increase that nitric oxide, and not only through nutrition, but some of the therapies that has been mentioned. Now we have a whole, yes, sir.
Tim, so the questions I'm going to ask you are good. When they come to Atlanta, right? Will you talk about where they can get a good nitrous oxide supplement?
Yes.
Will you tell them why nitrous oxide is so important with neuropathy?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's imperative. And so increasing the nitric oxide, and when you got cellular damage, your endothelial cells cannot produce. There's several different sources that can produce the nitric oxide, but the endothelial cells, when they get damaged, they have to be repaired, and then you have to supplement because eating Twinkies and such is not gonna get it. Now, there's several different tools. It depends on what I love about concierge is this. You can take your practice any way that you want. So in Atlanta, I'm going to go through and talk about a lot of the different biomarkers and tools that we have. We have a very expensive machine. It's called Vendus. It's from Endothelix. And so I wouldn't recommend starting off getting something like that. It's about 20 grand to have that. It allows us to look at endothelial dysfunction and test that in the body. But I'm going to show you some things that you don't have to have that to have a good neuropathy practice. Basically, you just have to have a reflex hammer, a tuning fork, some very basic tools that you can test neuropathy, and then we'll show you how to start getting people.
Wouldn't that be the Weissman test?
It's the Toronto that we're going to be doing the Toronto test, and so
you were just testing him. I know you were just testing him on that just to make sure he was paying attention. One of the things, I don't know if you remember, when we did one of our first Thursday night lives, private trainings for our family of Dissenters of America doctors, if you remember, you were actually one of the first ones we did. And the reason we did that is because one of the things you do very well, Dr. Kammerman, is your command of language. And I think one of the most powerful tools that you give to the doctors when they leave on February 22nd at Life University, the first and inaugural, and only, there's no plans in 2026 for this. Maybe if you twist our arms, but this is a one and done. So you want to make sure you're there. I was asked that question this week. Is there going to be one next year? Focus on February 22nd, 2025. You give doctors tools, and the way you give them tools is you give them almost literally a fast track, if you will, a cheat sheet, if you will, a shortcut, if you will, to be able to take a rudimentary chiropractic practice and to layer it step by step by step by step to be able to attract a much higher level of patient and to deliver a much higher level of outcome. Because at the end of the day, right, we're all in the same business. We're in the business of delivering better outcomes. And speaking of delivering better outcomes, I think one of the coolest things is this, and that is when you start to take a look at who's going to be there. Let's go over, I want to share with you a little bit about who's going to be in the room, because the room will be unlike, this is going to be the most historic room in the history of our profession. Why? Because the resumes of the doctors in the room are unmatched. One of those speakers, the outgoing president of the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners, the chief basically witness for NCMIC. In other words, when I say NCMIC, as you know, this is a doctor who defends chiropractors, who stands up for chiropractors, who assists chiropractors in protecting them and protecting the truth and protecting their scope of practice and so much more. He will be there and he will be presenting a very special one-time only risk management program in peripheral neuropathy and non-surgical spinal decompression. And what I would love, yes, you know where I'm going, Dr. K, what I would love, if you could speak a little bit on your 40-year relationship with the incredible Dr. Sal LaRusso.
You know, Dr. LaRusso is an amazing individual, and he works as an expert for our profession, representing and defending our profession. But more importantly, he's very, very, very big on certification programs. Why neuropathy and decompression? Because in a malpractice case, the first thing they're going to ask you in court, were you taught neuropathy in chiropractic college? Were you taught decompression in chiropractic college? And most times we were not. So they're going to say, well, where did you learn this? And again, I go back. That's why I thank Kevin Fogarty and Life University for allowing us to do this, because now in a court of law, that certificate is strong. You can't just say the equipment company taught you how to do this. And, you know, one of the things that I got to compliment Tim Karaman on is Tim was one of the people that educated me. I mean, Tim and I would get on the phone and he would educate me. And then, like he said, I love the way he used the word, Perry. You know what he did? He said the rabbit hole. I got into the rabbit hole. Tim Karaman like pushed me into the rabbit hole. And here I am like rotating. And now I'm looking at studies like the Change the Star study from the University of Washington. And she talks about how sciatic neuropathy is very common. I didn't know that it was common. What about foot drop? Foot drop is a symptom of neuropathy. I didn't know this. I'm going back down the hole right now. I'm going back down the hole. It's unbelievable. You know, what I learned. And then you have the Murphy study. What about balance? Are you kidding? Do you know that NBC News did a study and they showed that if you can stand on one foot, the study suggests attacks that you'll live longer. We're going to show you how to do this in February. I will stand up in front of the room. I will show you how to do this test. I will show you things, because you have to understand, doctors, 1 out of 3 adults over the age of 65 will fall each year. Are you kidding me? Every 11 seconds, an older person is treated in an emergency room for falls. Do you know that 20% of all falls result in serious injuries, broken bones? 95% of hip fractures never return to their own home. And what if we can show you mechanisms of how you can increase balance? What if we can show you certain things from the Asian Spinal Journal, from Yale University? I mean, I'm sitting here at Yale University that not, I mean, and he studies and he shows you that shooting pain, numbness, muscle weakness, things that are associated. See, doctors, everything that we talk about always begins with the subluxation complex. A subluxation becomes a bulge, and a bulge becomes a herniation. But a subluxation can also be the cause of neuropathy. So, you know, one of the greatest tools that you have, doctor, right here. I'll give you a high pie tonight. Not a high five, high pie, because we know how powerful that the piezoform is, that we know what we can do with our hands. And having someone like Sal LaRusso is going to talk in detail about an intake form, of which we will provide an intake form that he worked with my daughter, gorgeous in love, not in law, in love, Stephanie Kaplan. Sal worked with her on putting together an intake form. We will provide that to everybody in it. When you're talking about the manual that we did, we'll provide you also with a PowerPoint for all of our doctors, for all of our clients that come. As a special gift, Dr. Bard put together, Dr. Bard, not Dr. Kaplan, he put together a PowerPoint program that we will give to our clients so they can do lectures. We have a doctor, Dr. Fenn, brand new client, went out to the villages in Florida, did his first lecture, picked up 20 new patients. Doctors, what 20 new patients? Tim, are you still around? I want to ask you a question. What's a neuropathy case worth to you?
6,000.
6,000. So imagine, doctors, watch what I'm going to tell you. If you added one neuropathy case a month, that would be $72,000 a year to your practice. Now imagine if you could add one a week. That's $250,000 to your practice. But you know what? Not doing it is being negligent to understanding the power of the nerve. And Tim, like I said, I'm so grateful because you pushed me down that rabbit hole, and now I started learning and I started studying, and I didn't know that falls and balance was so important, to dealing with neuropathy. And we're going to show them how certain things that they can do at home and what they do. Do you know that it was in the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, right? Death from falls among persons age 65 in the United States. Boom. Death from falls among persons. That people are dying from falls, and that falls are associated with neuropathy. And this was a study done by Redfield, MD, Schubart, MD, Dauphin, MD, Cano, MD, Richards. I mean, I'm going to go on. And in February, thanks to the help of Tim, who helped us put together this manual, we'll talk about the Murphy study and balance from Mayo University. So, and what I'm telling you, Tim said very, very interesting. Doctors, yes, it's good to have certain equipment. There's certain equipment I like for balance. I'm not going to mention any names because I'm not selling any products here tonight. What I'm selling, doctors, is my neuropsychology of if you love what you do, if you love your profession, if you realize that, did you choose chiropractic or did chiropractic choose you? If you realize that every patient who comes into your office tomorrow, doctors, get there. And every patient that walks into your door, realize they're putting their life in your hands. Are you kidding me? This is the most beautiful profession in the world. But you know what, doctors? You can't love your patients until you're willing to love yourself. You can't love your patients until you're willing to love your profession. And realize, if you're living in a nice house, the profession paid for it. If you're driving a nice car, the profession paid for it. If you're happy in life, the profession shows you a way. Because, I used to tell my children, you can be an employee or an employer. To be self-employed and be in a position that you can love people, serve people, and make a living by that, how gifted are we? And that's what we're going to go to. And in February, with the help of Kim Karen, and Perry's going to show you, besides Sal. Perry, you want to show him some of the other speakers we're going to have? Besides Dr. Karaman, one of my mentors, Tim, yes, you young-looking guy, probably due to the nitrous oxide. Tell him about Dr. Jane Lombard.
Well, whoa. So I can't believe that Dr. Jason Kaplan was able to leave his office without getting a speeding ticket and to go home in literally, I don't know how he did it. He must have had a helicopter. We went I don't know if you caught that, but for those paying attention, but what I'm about to say is I'm going to say the light bulb moment of your career. Did you catch that? The light bulb moment right here, right now. Yes, February 22nd, 2025, Life University, first and only neuropathy decompression certificate class. You'll be part of history. The best speakers on the planet, the best content on the planet, the best manual on the planet, the best social networking on the planet. But for those who are just paying attention, Dr. Kaplan shared something with you that was ultimate gold. See, at the end of the day, what is this about? This is about credibility. And how powerful is it to be credentialed by a university in writing that day only to be able to walk out with a tangible certificate that will last for the rest of your life? Yes, credentialed by a university. In a court of law, I cannot tell you, when they try to break you down, when they try to belittle you, when they try to demean you, it's not personal, doctor. You might say, oh, it's a chiropractic thing. No, it's a doctor thing. That's the way the world works, because as a regulated profession, as a licensed profession, In essence, you have to practice within a scope of practice, and you have to follow the rules. Well, thank goodness for all these years, all of you have done that. And that's a beautiful thing. But at the end of the day, credentials speak volumes. And the simple fact that you can have your team credentialed as well, if you ask me, what's it worth? There's no price. There's no price. If you told me the certificate would cost fill in the blank, I'd pull out my credit card right now. You mean I can get a certificate from a university in the study of neuropathy and decompression from the largest university in the chiropractic profession? But you got to be there. You got to be there. So if that doesn't put a fire under your rectum, if you know what I mean, if that doesn't light the light, if you know what I mean, then guess what? The train has left the station and you're not on it. Now, if you ask all these doctors, not only are they on the train, they're in the front car. They're in the VIP car. That's where the drinks are served. Oh, and by the way, for the first time ever, at 6 o'clock when the doors open, you're never going to believe this. It's social hour. Yes, drinks are on the house. Dr. Cameraman has bought drinks for everybody. That's right. Wine, beer. No, he didn't do that. It was actually donated by our incredible sponsors who you'll meet there. Yes, social networking, unheard of. Beer, wine, food. Oh my gosh, what's that worth? On the campus, you don't even have to leave. I want to share some other things with you and show some stuff here of who else is going to be there. February 22nd, live at Life University. The great Dr. Marty Kotler. And I don't know if you know this, but Dr. Marty Kotler has really been helping Dr. Swan. That's his acronym. It stands for Sleep Well at Night. He teaches doctors how to build code, how to be compliant. Now, remember, neuropathy is a brave new world for so many doctors. Decompression is also a brave new world. Even though we wrote an 800-page book on it, you know all about it. It is the Bible on non-surgical spinal decompression. We give that book away at the Cairo event. It's an amazing thing, the university edition, of course. He's going to be there teaching a better way to insulate, protect, and to be able to maximize your practice in terms of billing, coding, and doing it in a compliant way. That's so crucial. It's so vital. As Dr. Kaplan says, you want to play by the rules fairly, squarely, but you play to win.
That's
One of the great surprises. Oh, yes. Yes, you know, because it was from a Lombardi thing. You said that. You taught me that. Here's a great surprise. I wanted to share some surprises with you. This is one, I was going to share it that day, but we added a doctor to the platform who happened to own one of the largest neuropathy practices in the country, sold his practice for the most healthy amount, retired completely, moved to another state, and said, you know what? At the end of the day, the most powerful letters are DC. Yeah, that doctor of chiropractic has a tremendous value if you know how to maximize it, if you know how to position it, if you know how to educate it, if you know how to market it. But those two letters in front of our name, ooh, those are priceless. The great Dr. Jason Davis put together a brand new program. He just sent me all his slides. They're incredible, and we cannot wait for him to take the stage. But if you ask me and you say, gee, who makes your heart race? Who is the doctor that is going to be the goosebump moment of goosebump moments? Who is the doctor with a pedigree, a resume, a history, and a credibility unlike any on the planet? Don't ask me how. The moon and the stars aligned. We were able to secure for this one-time only training, pound for pound, ask anybody. This is the greatest neurologist on the planet. This is the go-to neurologist for so many doctors of notoriety, celebrity. Dr. Mehmet Oz, Dr. Daniel Amen, Dr. Mark Hyman, so many more. Even Deepak, yeah, even Chopra. They all know who this doctor is. He is the one and only Dr. Jay Lombard. He put together the most incredible presentation that you have ever seen. It is worth You can't put a price on this stuff. He's going to be there, and get ready for the greatest light bulb moment in the history of your consciousness, doctors. Yes, we were able to secure him. He is the best-selling author for so many great books. He wrote a book, a very special book, which he's going to be sharing content on. It was his original book. It's called The Brain Wellness Plan. He's the go-to neurologist. He's based in New York. He's flying down special for this. He's doing it for his love and commitment to the profession. And he loves chiropractors. He does. He just loves our profession. And we're so blessed to be able to have him that day. And yes, I asked him if he would be willing to hang out a little bit at 6 o'clock and maybe take some pictures with the doctors for their press releases and things like that. Oh yeah, you want to let the universe know you spent the weekend with an all-star team of doctors, including the neurologist amongst neurologists. He's really figured out ways to treat neuropathy on a level that you haven't seen before. You just haven't seen it before. It's so incredible. Dr. Kaplan, what I would love to do with your approval is there was a couple of questions that were sent in. Would you be so kind to, I was sent 100 questions. And one of the funny things was I said, let me just take the last 3 questions. Otherwise we can do this all day long. But I'm going to take the last 3 questions. And if you would be so kind to answer these questions, because guess what? There are other speakers here. One of them, I'm going to ask some questions. He's at the left side. He just didn't get a speeding ticket going home, by the way. So should get a lottery ticket. Dr. Kaplan, would you be so kind to answer this question, which is, I thought this is amazing. This is out of like totally left field. Should you walk a lot with neuropathy? Dr. K?
Well, again, Perry, I'm a guy of research, and the Cleveland Clinic says yes. I mean, remember something, we talked about, Tim Cameron talked about nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator. We talked about certain tests that you're going to learn, how to do balance tests. We learned that fractures are a cause of disease. We talked about the Murphy study from the Mayo Clinic. We talked about the Barron, Binder, and Dickinson study. I mean, but what I really love is what people don't realize is Jay Lombard, who's the author of many best-selling books, who's a neurologist, who embraced it. And what we will do, doctors, and Perry and I haven't even spoken about this yet, so I'll put them under the spot. We'll get a picture of all of our DCOA doctors with Jay Lombard, and we will do a press release, which will be our gift. And you know what? Again, why, doctors? Because what is my legacy? My legacy is, listen, I've been in this profession since 1978. And you know what? The old coaches and consultants, all they taught was philosophy. And they said chiropractic is a philosophy, an art, and a science. And I said, no, it's a science that embraces an art, that understands a philosophy. But remember, science is objective, philosophy is subjective. And what we want to do is provide objective things. So as Tim Cameron threw me down this hole, okay? And we have Jay Lombard, who's going to show you how, what part of the population has peripheral neuropathy. And watch this. It used to be associated just with diabetes, but let me give you the facts, doctors. Only 30% of the peripheral neuropathy cases are diabetic related. So what is one neuropathy case? I'm going to leave you in a minute, but what is one neuropathy case worth to you? $72,000 a year. That means 2 neuropathy cases a month. It's worth $150,000 a year. Cash, doctors. See, you have to decide, do you want to be insurance dependent? Do you want to be dependent, or do you want to be interdependent? I'm not against insurance companies, doctors, but they're not there to make you more money. My job is taking this profession to a level. I love plastic surgery and I love dentistry because, when you go into them, this is what they offer. When you can develop a brand, doctor, a brand that motivates success. When you have somebody that when Perry talks, when you have Jay Lombard, Sal LaRussa, Marty Collar, we're dealing with compliance, we're dealing with ethics, we're dealing with communication. And when you can bring that with the studies, this 200-page manual, which, doctors, if you are not there, we will not give it to you. You know what? Why? Because maybe I'll do it again next year. I don't know. That's how I'll talk to Kevin Fogarty and we'll see how much money we raise. Now, let me give you a fact, doctors. You don't know this. Why do you do this, Dr. Kaplan? You can ask at the university. Perry and I do not make 1 penny from this. Every dollar that is received through Life University, and Life University receives all the money. So why do we do this? Why am I leaving Florida? Because doctors, I believe that our profession, the middle class of our profession has gone away. There's the people that are making it and the people that are not. But the middle class is gone. But you know what, doctors? If we go back to our philosophy and we utilize the science and understand that a subluxation causes neuropathy, that a subluxation can become a bulge, that can become a disc. And if you realize that many of your cases that are decompression cases and neuropathy cases, and neuropathy cases, decompression cases, then you know what, doctors? Guess what? You've doubled your practice just by being on this Zoom meeting tonight. That Perry and I donated our time from Las Vegas and Florida. So I want to say to you, doctors, you know what? The enemy of great is good. You're all good. You graduated, you passed your boards, thank God. But you know what? Are you meeting your potential? The question that you have to ask yourself is, am I the best doctor I can be? Am I dealing with neuropathy? Am I dealing with knee cases? Am I utilizing therapies like electroanalgesia? Am I utilizing shockwave? Am I utilizing laser? Well, if you want to learn how to use these therapies in conjunction with the greatest two treatment hands of all time, if you want to start giving high pies instead of high fives, let's do high pies to each other. If you want to start doing that, doctors, then I can't wait to see you in February. And again, I thank Kevin Fogarty. I thank Life University, because Kevin understands, and Dr. Fogarty understands, and Dr. Russo understands, Dr. Lombard, to have one of the leading neurologists in the country coming. You see, we were raised early on that MDs were the enemy. No, they're not, doctors. Once they embrace you, then, as Perry said, your level of balance goes up, that your level of credibility goes up, that your level of science goes up. I'm walking around at Trump the other day. And you know what? It's funny how people talk about you behind your back. And I hear someone introduced me, Dr. Kevin, I want you to meet my friend, Dr. Ringo Mingo. And I said, hi, how you doing? As I walked away, my ears, my ears, these beautiful things that I have. He says, oh, that's Dr. Kaplan. He's the leading orthopedist in the country. He is number one in the country in disc injury. Doctors come to him from all over the country because he's number one. He says, the medical doctors, he says, my medical doctor refers to that. And I'm saying, who would have believed in 1978 when I graduated chiropractic, when I was called a quack more times than I was called a doctor, they would understand that, yes, we are the number one. And you know what? We're now going to be number one in neuropathy. We're going to be number one in knees. I want to thank Dr. Perry Bard from the great state of Las Vegas, and Dr. Budo. By the way, your hair looked great tonight. I got to tell you, I don't know what you did. Daniel, I can't wait to see you. We'll do a special thing. We'll do some high pies together. I love you, Perry. In because I'm stepping out. Why? You want more of me? Come in February. I'll be loaded. Research? Hold on. Let me show you. I got stuff I haven't even shown tonight. I got papers I haven't even shown tonight. I got stuff that's going to blow you away. You want stuff? I got more stuff than you can imagine. I'm Dr. Eric Kaplan saying, I love you. I love the profession of chiropractic. My neuropsychology is be the best you can be. And I'm going to tell you, doctors, when I did my commencement address at New York Chiropractic College, which now doesn't even have a name that I don't even know, my diploma, I guess, doesn't work anymore because it's now like Health Sciences of New York. I don't know, but why would you give up the name New York Chiropractic College? But when I did my commencement address there, which I was honored to do, I said, if you're always chasing money, you're a slave. But doctors, if you can teach money how to chase you, you become the master. Let's not be slaves. Let's be masters of our universe. Let's be masters of our profession. Let's be the best that we can be. Let's love chiropractic because I love you that you're a chiropractor. Thank you and God bless.
So this is so much fun. I got to tell you before you go, it is such a unique synergy. And, I think it's scary. I could use a lot of it. It's scary when I don't even tell you things and you already knew it. I don't know how you knew it, but you knew it. You knew about the press release specific to our doctors. You knew about the picture. Don't ask me how you knew that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we have special surprises because we're going to lift everybody in the room, but our family of This Centers America Doctors, NeuroDoc, Neuropathy Treatment Centers. We got some special stuff for you, and we're so happy that you're going to be with us. And when one ESK leaves the building, we have another ESK. Where is he? I just saw him. Yes, Dr. Kaplan's grandson is on this right now. I kid you. Oh, there he is. Yes, yes, there he is. The first, I'm so glad, came to the first. Looks so incredible. It's so exciting. Yes, yes, that's Dr. Kaplan's grandson, the great Dr. Stephanie Kaplan, Dr. Jason Kaplan's. They have two grandchildren, by the way. Where's gorgeous Maya? She's probably playing. But this is so exciting. I got some more stuff I want to show you guys before you go here tonight, because I want to get you. Oh, there she is. It is a family affair. And in the middle, we got Dr. Devin Bard. I don't know if you caught that. Wave to the audience, Dr. DB. Yeah, he's going to be there live. He's going to be there live. Why? Because he wants to be credentialed, just like all of you. Being credentialed is priceless. It's the most powerful thing that we can give our profession, to give our brothers and sisters and fellow physicians, and for Life University to create an environment. No, this isn't a course you're taking in the Hyatt Regency. No disrespect. This isn't a course you're taking at the Ramada Inn. No disrespect. This isn't a course you're taking at the Motel 6. No disrespect. This is a course on the campus of the largest chiropractic university on the planet that is credentialing the doctors with a written certificate. I would get a plane, and I can't tell you how many of my team members I would put on that plane there and more. I want to show you a couple more slides, and then I want to bring in Dr. JK, because a crazy thing, I have to tell you, I had the most beautiful slide already set up for you. It's so funny, with the most handsome picture. And I set it up in Las Vegas right when I got here, like a couple of hours ago. I kid you not. Today, I just arrived. And it was the one that was taken, it was so, and I didn't save it, but now you get the real thing. I want to show you a couple more things before we bring Dr. Jason Kaplan on. It's going to talk about the back end of the day, which is for so many people, I guess you could say maybe even the highlight of the day. Yeah, that's a big deal. These are some of the screenshots. I wanted to show you some of the materials that are in the manual themselves. And a lot of this stuff is slide material. Like, a lot of the content in the book is actually so good, it's stuff you want to put in new patient packages. Yeah, the graphics are incredible, and we made it full color for you guys. And one of the things that we're so proud about is we actually included a whole bunch of neuropathy forms in the manual. Yeah, intake forms to be able to discern what is actually causing that neuropathy, if it is a true neuropathy case, if it's a metabolic case, a systemic case, a spinal structural case, a spinal disc case, if it's an entrapment, if it is any type of other neurodegenerative dysfunction. Yes, there's a lot of causes of neuropathy, which you're going to learn from the great all-star team of physicians as well. But if you can pay attention to the right side of this was actually created in the original manual that was given out in 2012 when we taught the first ever non-surgical spinal decompression certification program. Yeah, it's coming back this year, 12 hours. Imagine, we are teaching 20 hours of CEUs this year. If you come to the neuropathy program and the decompression program, you'll have 20 hours from Life University. That is mind-blowing. But this neuropathy program, this is historic. Dr. Kaplan used these words. He said, a subluxation left untreated has the potential to become a spinal disc bulge. That spinal disc bulge, if it's left untreated, often will morph into a disc herniation. And if it goes into a disc herniation, and as you know, that patient now becomes a candidate for non-surgical spinal decompression, the end part of the day is the day, and mark my words, you can hold me to this, to everybody there. The most camera phones will come out. Watch what he does when Dr. Jason Kaplan takes the stage. It happens every year, every time he talks. The most camera phones come out because he's so descriptive in basically how to position the patient, how you need to handle the tables, what you need to be aware of, patient management of the spinal decompression case. Dr. JK, would you be so kind as to share those last 2 hours of that day when Dr. Kaplan and you do the ultimate rabbit hole of the deep dive for the fast track of the most intense 2 hours of spinal decompression content, tools, material, and education? Would you be so kind to share that as to what they can expect on that day?
Sure. So not only do we do full entire setup, putting the patient on the actual table, getting the patient in the right position setup, we go through every single protocol. We go through the entire cervical protocol for every disc. We go through the lumbar protocol for every disc. We go over weight. We go over angle. We go over treatment time. We go over treating a hot patient versus treating feeling a good patient. We go over treating younger people versus treating older people. Then I do my top 10 most common mistakes. So I actually had girls I've been having in my house for 4 years, and they actually know I'm very big on setup because I truly believe the better the setup, the better the treatment, the better results. And all I care about are my patients getting the best results. So I've actually had my girls over the years write down the top 10 mistakes that people, staff, doctors make when it comes to putting the patient on the actual table, setting the patient up, and treating the patient, and then the proper way to get them off the table and the therapies afterwards. So we go over the whole entire order, the protocol for cervical lumbar, before the decompression, after the decompression, the lasers, the therapy, the matrix, everything. It's a one-stop shop.
You're going to put a seatbelt on for everyone that's fortunate enough to be there, because he's going to do something. See, when we have the 12 hours, we can kind of, I don't want to say take our time, but there it's, forgive the term, it's balls to the wall, if you know what I mean. He's going to go at light speed, and you better get your phone out. You better get your note paper ready. And listen, we're going to make history together. And I just think it's so incredible on that day to be able to do it. It's Saturday, February 22nd, 2025, Life University. You will register at neuropathycertified.org. There are no other Zoom meetings. There are no other opportunities to do this. This is it. This is your last call to be able to grab a seat, to be part of history, to be credentialed, to learn things you won't learn anywhere else, to be around doctors you won't find anywhere else, to get a manual you'll never receive anywhere else, and to become a way better than you ever have. And that is, at the end of the day, that's one of the most amazing things, is to be able to do that. And I think it's so, I think one of the fun things about it is to be able to say, I made my own personal history. Yeah, my own personal history. Yeah, you got to jump through some hoops. Atlanta's not hard to get to, but yeah, you got to stay at the Sheridan. Oh, if you're curious, one of the questions that I got, yes, thank you very much, is where is everybody staying? Everybody is staying at the Sheridan Galleria, which is 10 minutes up the street on Cobb Parkway. And just, you want to make sure that you're there. This is one of my favorite pictures. I don't even think your dad's still on. We took this at boot camp. We have so much fun at boot camp. I always joke with your dad. I always say, who's having more fun than us? Nobody. You'll see why. February 22nd. You'll see the doctors we attract. You'll see who's in the room. You'll see what makes this the most powerful group of disc specialists and nerve specialists who happen to be chiropractors on the planet. It's what makes it so much fun for all of us. You know, this is what makes it incredibly fun for all of us. So I'm going to kind of come off. There is no script, but I'm coming off the script tonight. And I'm going to ask a doctor who's joined us live right here, right now, sitting in the comfort. I don't know how he blurred out the background. He's so fancy with his high tech. But I'm going to ask, for the first time ever, I'm going to bring a doctor on before as we start to come to the end here. I want to bring a doctor on that represents something that many of you know about and many of you are a party to, which is the brave new world of chiropractic. You see, there's a lot of doctors that are going to be in attendance that are students that day. There's a lot of doctors that are new to the profession. And there's a lot of doctors that, let's be frank, let's call a spade a spade. They have trepidation. They have concern. I won't use that four-letter word that begins with an F, ends in an R, has two vowels in between. I'm not going to use that word. But they're concerned. And they're concerned about the future. And they're concerned about what their future has in store unless you're a disc specialist, unless you're a nerve specialist, unless you're part of the greatest, most powerful force in the history of the profession, which happens to be us, which is concierge coaches, Disc Centers of America, Neurodoc Neuropathy Treatment Centers, Knee Centers of America. Yes, that's our family. And what I would love to ask for the first time is that if you're a new doctor who happens to be on this Zoom meeting and you are a recent graduate, why this is so vital, so crucial, so important. And I'm going to ask Dr. Devin Bard, who is, by the way, if you're curious, building a 2,100 square foot DDG office. DDG stands for Drop Dead Gorgeous. Drop Dead Gorgeous. And I'm going to ask him, as a new doctor, why it is so vital to be there February 22nd, 2025 on the campus of Life University. Dr. DB?
Sure. So there's, there's just certain weekends that I circle on my calendar, or certain days, and February 22nd is one of them. I'm so excited to go. It's going to be incredible. Like Dr. Cameraman said earlier, there's going to be a room full of all-stars, and to get a chance to pick your guy's brain, it's just, I'm the most blessed chiropractor in the world, and just incredibly excited. It's going to be game-changing for our practices.
It's so much fun to watch. I don't know if you saw, one of the reasons we get asked this a lot. Dr. Cap and myself get asked this a lot. Like, why do you still do this? Why do you still do this? If you ask Dr. Kaplan, I've been in DC for 45 years. I've been in DC for 38 years. That's over 80 years. That's a lot of knowledge. It's a lot of experience. It's a lot of stories. It's a lot of situations, but it's also my favorite. It's a lot of victories. As Dr. Cameraman said before, I love to win. All of you, whether you recognize this or not, are incredibly competitive. You don't think of yourselves that way, but you are. And your most competition you have is with yourself. You have competition to do better. You have competition to deliver an outcome for patients that they can't get anywhere else. Yeah, they're taking the Lyrica, Cymbalta, gabapentin, Neurontin. Yes, they've been pre-qualified as a neuropathy patient already. So that's the first tell, if you will. But that's just the beginning, not the end. And if you ask Dr. Kaplan myself, he'll say, the reason we do this is you're looking at it and you're looking at them. This is the future. This is a doctor on the left side of the screen that runs a multi-million-dollar practice. Dr. Jason Kaplan, 37 years old, 1,700 square feet, the most tricked out office you've ever seen. Every room in his office is monetized. He's going to talk about that and how he pulls it all together. Dr. Devin Bard, Very interesting. You know, who, by the way, did his internship with the doctor on the left side, by the way. Yes, Dr. Jason Kaplan allowed Dr. Devin Bard to spend his last semester in chiropractic school with him. You want to talk about being a fly on the wall? And he learned basically the playbook, if you will. And the magic of Dr. Jason Kaplan is he's always reinventing it. You know, he's always changing it, modifying it, enhancing it. That's what great doctors do, right? That's why you're on the Zoom meeting. That's why, whether it's, hey, it's only, what is it? It's only 5 o'clock here in Vegas. West Coast time. Oh, good luck going to sleep tonight, right? You know, that first day, right? So, you know, for those of you who joined us a little bit later, the reason I'm in Las Vegas is next month we are bringing the Cairo event to Las Vegas here. And they just added a few more seats. And we're scouting it here because we want to make sure the food is great for you. The environment is great. We do it at Trump, you know, we do it actually at the Trump property because of the incredible relationship that Dr. Kaplan has with the family, the brand, and the properties. And they just treat our doctors like such first class. But you must have a seat. Security is unbelievably tight. I'm not kidding. It's like the craziest security. So you must be pre-registered. But since we're talking about only neuropathy here today, I'm not even going to give out that domain. I'm not even going to give out that registration because there's only a handful of seats left and it's 5 weeks away. So it's going to be sold out already. It's already sold out once. It's going to sell out multiple times. We could have sold 3 times the amount of seats last year. We had doctors from Alaska and Hawaii and oh my gosh, and Edmonton, you know, and they've come in from all over. Well, guess what? They're coming in from all over the world for the first ever Life University National Peripheral Neuropathy Spinal Decompression Certificate Program because this is a one-time only. Yeah, they're coming in from other parts of the world because they know this has never been done before and they want to be part of history. And how often do you get a chance to make your own personal history? To surround yourself with some of the greatest lecturers on the planet who are bringing content, tools, material, ammunition, and is literally going to give you more light bulb moments than you've ever had in one single day. And I promise you, you know, you're gonna walk out and you're gonna go, wow, that was worth it. That was worth it. That was worth it. So whatever you had to do to get there, and life favors the action takers. Life favors the ones that have the vision. Life favors the ones that want it more than oxygen. Yeah, that's how bad you want it. Why? Because you want your patients to win. You want your patients walking out of your office going, that's the best doctor I've ever seen. This is much more than Google reviews. Yeah, we want you to have great Google reviews. But at the end of the day, we want the patients walking out of your office saying that is the best doctor I have ever seen. That's how you expand your practice. That's how you run a multi-million-dollar practice. We're going to show you how to put it together. We cannot wait. I'm probably not going to sleep to that time because I'm going to be up probably every night working on slides and more because that's what I do. But you know, for everyone that is so blessed, fortunate enough to be with us on that day, we're the fortunate ones because we cannot wait to see you. Go to the website right now, grab your seats, the remaining seats, bring your team, get credentialed, get that certificate on that wall, and let the universe know that you paid the price. You did what was necessary to lead the charge in your demographic, your city, your market, to be the best nerve doctor and the best disc doctor on the planet that also happens to be a chiropractor, which is, last time I checked, still the best profession in the world. www.neuropathycertified.org. We will see you there, February 22nd, 2025. We cannot wait to see you. Thank you for spending time with us. We're going to make it great for you. The clock is ticking. Grab your seats before they're gone. We will see you live on February 22nd, 2025 at the first and only Peripheral Neuropathy Spinal Decompression Certificate Program. It'll be great. See you there.